Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here, and as you can see, we're continuing the series. The poll did exactly what I wanted it to be, is to tell me reasonably clearly what you guys want to see done here. And it was 50% when I last checked last night. It would be Friday night. For continuing the series now. So as I said, so long as it still makes some sort of sense and is still getting reasonably good viewing numbers, and it's been getting very good viewing numbers, but I've just been sort of frustrated and didn't know whether starting over or something. And now we very well, if there's a new version of Black Ice coming, well, there's going to be a new version coming out someday, or something, we may not, and if this becomes just too boring, we'll move on to something else. But for now, we've got this going. So we've got some reinforcements. Ace pilot promoted. Nylon, yay, nylon. Okay, that should free up, of course, a production slot. And because we have a template for Gross Deutschland, I think. It wants to fill the template. It wants tigers and panthers. Well, we're going to give it right now. Start researching the tiger tank. Very good defensive tank. Useful in the offensive. Eventually, things just get so big, so bulky that they become not that useful in the offensive, but still a bit slower stuff is still useful. And Lum, of course, thinks it's the best looking tank, but you really never want to have Germans be your aesthetic designers. Well, they do a few things okay, I guess, but you have to watch them very carefully, or there'll be problems. See, they're already having supply problems, so I was going to move my troops into their attrition because of this. Yes, I know what your passport says. But I'm using it as sort of a generic term for something of an ethnic group. Luftwaffe field divisions. Oh boy. Okay. We want them on trains. These guys are already here, so let's try. I'm gonna click on the port. Click on the port here. Did we get all that right? Yep. Yeah. That would be Lum's real job. Claims to have a different one, but you know, we all know what all the Swiss do. And in a way, I don't mind, to some degree, the attrition levels that are going on here. What I mind is the, because of the elements of the game combining, that I can't get proper organization. It's one thing if I was having high equipment attritions as well as personnel attrition here. So just had to produce more equipment and use up bodies. That would be one thing, but because the attrition levels and supply levels are set, means I can't get full on organization, and that is as much of a problem as anything else. Okay, so we're getting near to these Lublin, Love, and Memel getting supply centers. Okay, current upset. We're still some Paris upset. Let's grab one of these and send them up to Paris. No, just one. Send them up to Paris. And we should still have upset in Oslo. I think we're just going to, for the moment, let's send 2 Totenkopf for bands up to here. I'll make sure they go via the sea. There we go. Hey, Zad, it's good to have you here. Okay, see, now we're having more supply problems, so we can look at supply zones. That one is red. Okay, so what we want to do here is with these sort of I know I can draw the fallback lines we were talking just before the start of the stream about. Defensive lines, and that they would be useful, yes. Let's move you into Hungary, actually. Yes, and I have not been paying enough attention here. Okay, well. Well, it looks like this is holding somewhat. Well, I don't know that we're going to hold there. I am, again, somewhat more worried about. Let's move that to there. We have a remaining mountain division that should be okay. Don't know if they want to fall back or not. Okay, well. Okay, this is part of Rommel's. Let's create a new army here. Army, I guess. Oh, whoever they use to do these colors. God. I mean, let's go with, well, more solid colors. Like that. Well, it looks like they're okay for supply, so let's, let's get them down here quick on the train, but let's try, well, oh, why can't these guys, what's wrong with them? Why can't we go into here? Oh, we're at war with them. Okay, they can. They can, for just some reason when I do this. Oh, well, now I can. Okay. Okay, modern blitzkrieg, that should help, and anti-tank upgrades. I think that pushes us, yes, all the way through the basic plans. There, obviously we've okay, now regimental doctrines. Don't know. Well, we're doing a lot of, I don't know which ones are mutually exclusive. Or no, these are all, no, these are researchable there, but this technology part of the following categories: land doctrines. No, mutually exclusive with. So these aren't mutually exclusive. Oh, okay, no, they are. Okay, defense in depth, elastic attritional containment. Okay, so these 4 are in one block, and these 2 are, you can do at any time paired. Well, are not, I mean, are not mutually exclusive. Operational support. Let's go with the regimental doctrine here. Masters of Business Arts. How very good, AZ. I'm sure you will do well at that. And I'm sure it will be very profitable. Research the better tanks. We have so many factories that have been damaged either by bombing. Well, yeah, let's take a quick look at the air situation here. Oh God. Okay, well, that's not helping any. Oh, whoa, no wonder they, okay, that's got over because the air forces had to retreat back, and so it's got overrun here. Okay, we can stick some up in Memel here, so you go to there. We're trying to service the northern Baltic, so you go up to there as well. That'll get free up some space at that air base. We're going to continue to free up some more. Okay, well, longer range tactical bombers can probably, okay, there's 48 of you, operate from back here well enough. We should be able to still deal with the southern Baltic there, and so you should be able to from there. Now fighters, we've got lots of fighters here. Okay, I don't know that we need to contest the space over Lithuania anymore. So you're going to come here and you're going to contest this airspace there. And don't need problems based on overstacking in an airbase. 120, 120. You're already overstacked as it is. Okay, we need more air bases. Well, since you're up over here, let's see if we can move you to a Belgian air base here. But we still want more. So let's come to here and see what we can do for fighters. We'll put some old fighters up. What a lot of this is doing is I put up old fighters and then they, I think we're taking some attritional, sure, but I think we're mostly eventually replacing them with new production. At some point. Oh, can we do operational support stuff will help your supply. Very good, I can do some of that. Oh, administration, okay. I want to do finance, so it's going to be profitable. Yes, you trade a strategic bomb parts of the Soviet Union. I don't really think I have the aircraft to do that properly, and so I just don't see good enough profit in it, and I may be wrong on my thoughts on that. Okay, let's let the clock do its thing. Poland seeks Baltic cooperation here? What the hell? No. Close. Is there somehow a Poland that just got activated? Something? I don't know. Hello, Toy Jet. And since I've seen numbers grow again, I'm just trying to get it out there. You can right now, quote unquote, buy Company of Heroes 2 for free over on Steam. So if you have a Steam account, you just go in and I know some of you are watching on YouTube and maybe still available to do that, but so you can add it, just add it to your your Steam library for free right now. Okay, dispersed industry level 5, very good. That will be very helpful. Okay, so we now have level 5 dispersed industry, which is this one here. We are plowing through some of this. Okay, factory output increased by steel mills modified by base efficiency, factory bomb vulnerability. But I'm looking for something that will say like, hey, supply throughput increase, but I'm not seeing it here. Would have thought infrastructure might have done some of that. Okay, let's see. Synthetic oil. Okay. Direct coal liquefaction. Yes, there we go. Let's do that. Thanks, Arno. Okay, this front seems to more or less have stabilized. Okay, a couple of these are really getting close. Okay, we've got the partisans somewhat handled. Now let's look at our logistics. Okay, yeah, we need some more panzers. We're developing those. We need some of those, but we really can't build them right now. Artillery we need more of. We have a severe deficit of those. Okay, we have more HQ equipment than we need. So let's look at HQ equipment. Not radios, but we'll check on radios in a moment. HQ, we have just one. Well, let's move this all the way down to the bottom here, so we, because I don't know. Not this one. Yeah. Okay. But we got a lot of that. Okay, we got a lot of uniforms now. For a while we didn't. So what we can do here is, let's be, is that the only uniform production line that I have? Probably. Okay. So we don't want to fully get rid of the uniform production line, but let's come down to here to start with. So that way we have now more back to fighters. Very good. Says we need more SS field uniforms. Okay. And we've done a lot of those. Totenkopf for bands. Okay, so I guess we need to just let's look at that in a moment. We can look at it now. Interesting. Now here, new field uniforms. The 1940 blouse. Recovery rate, defense reliability, industrial costs. Well, we want to show obsolete as well. Okay, so the 1936 field unit 340 defense 1 reliability. Now, how do I put this? I would say that, and I've never worn one. I've never done World War II reenacting, so I can't quite say for sure. I mean, I've worn a, well, I'm not sure, maybe it is a World War II Eisenhower jacket for some years, but never really worn a proper, full uniform kit. I would say the field uniform of the German armed forces as time goes on does not get better. Okay? I think Black Ice has done the wrong thing here, in that you have better recovery rate, better defense, better reliability by going to the newer uniform. And it's 0.28 to make it, and it's 0.24 to make it. So the outdated one is cheaper. What the German Army uniform, field uniform is, because these are saying field blouses, not some dress uniform. What they did during the war was simplification of manufacture as part of it, but I would say primarily lessen the material cost of making the uniform. So I don't know that the German field uniform was generally pretty user friendly. It comes off of the World War I uniform, which is, at least the second half of World War I is a rather loose fit, rather comfortable uniform. compared to some of the other uniforms. If you look like the American uniform, it's much tighter fitting in World War I. By the time you get to World War II, for the Americans, it's very loose fitting, very, very good field uniform. For functionality, doesn't look so good. So what I would do, because if you look at the amount of material and the amount of human labor needing to go into the uniform, it gets simpler as time goes on. What I would do, whether the uniform has any like recovery rate or defense or reliability modifications or not, I would simply make them get cheaper and cheaper to produce. So since I'm seeing that we have the old one here, I'm going to keep that one in production because it is cheaper to produce. And yeah, that's sort of good. You know what's ToyJet saying? If you're planning on playing CO2 in the future, I would recommend a mod called Spearhead. It makes the game more realistic as well as adding historical units and weapons. The base game is kind of lacking in that category. Very good to know, ToyJet. I will definitely look at that, and you can poke me again sometime if I haven't done it, because I will make some content on it at some point. Look and see if we have another field uniform choice for SS field uniform. So yeah, we're going to do the older. It's costing 30 new. See, IC cost is going up for the uniforms, and so yeah, I'm not for the way they're handling this. And yes, I would put myself as a uniform collector who quit collecting because I couldn't tell good fake badges from real badges and things, so I gave up collecting. Just got burned one too many times, basically. Okay. And so I went into gun collecting, and the guns that I collect would cost more to make copies of modern day than it does, because I don't go in for like the real expensive stuff or anything. It would cost more to you know, fake than you can buy, you know, originals, just because production costs, you know. So yeah. Okay, what? Okay, light utility vehicles. See if we can, we have 20,000 of those. See if we can reduce those down. I think they're probably up here towards the top. I know OCD people here get really frustrated with my lack of like, organizing all of these things. Yeah, let's go down to 1. I want to keep production. I really like to keep production like. So, you know, we've gone to a negative already. So let's go back to 2 here. Desert warfare equipment, mountain warfare equipment. Let's see, do we have more than one line or more than one factory producing either one of those? Mountain warfare was just 1. That's what makes me think desert warfare is also just 1. Yeah, we're gonna leave that. Maybe we can reduce some garrison equipment productions. Nope, they're still just at 1. Artillery prime movers. Oh, they're just at 1. Okay, so we'll leave all that. But we need more tungsten. Okay. Good to know that we need it. Let's see, who can we get it from? Sweden, it looks like here. Yeah, let's do that. That will help. When you compare it against the reliability, if it's then more expensive, one would be better. Yeah, That may be a smarter way to do it, if reliability is a little better. But right now, it's more just immediate production numbers and not for the long term that I'm looking at. That may be a little oversimplified, but a little short-sighted. Effects of Deutsch, okay. Let's look again now that we've done some micromanagement of it. This is where some of our problems with these smaller air zones are happening here. Make sure we have something up there to cover them. Next industry plan, national focus completed, very good. Okay, well, mixed industry, that was this one here. Military industry, vehicle, military factory, but a lot of these things are getting bombed. Do we want to do flak? 16 days, 16 days, 16 days. Yeah, let's do some flak defenses 1. That will help out. Those will help, and they're short enough time periods. If it was 48 days per or something, I probably wouldn't be picking it right now. And so far, this is doing good. I don't know what the Soviet Union is doing. Let's take a look over here. Japan is not in our war, but I mean, they do hold China, but they're holding out here in Burma. And, okay, well, not bad. Hopefully a distraction for us. Italy's pushing. Facing just one garrison unit. If we move back to here, if we can get better supplies and maybe push on some of these British units. Use your experience. Not a good reason. Yes, we'll take trucks, light artillery, medium artillery. Great, thank you. No, not good reasons. It's mostly because it's going to take me a while to, and these need to be, okay, political power. Do we want to play submarine attack defense? Who is currently running our navy? It's, oh no, our navy, down here. Yes, Eric Reeder. Yeah, we'll do that. I think they're getting rid of it. I'm not managing it well. When I live stream or playing for videos, I don't play in as much detail as I do if I'm just playing for myself. Okay, let's see if we can shorten the front here. Support that attack. And support that attack. See if these disorganized divisions can shorten the front line a bit. Yeah, that would be good. Speeding up my doctrine research with them. I should think of that or deal with that more. See, this is the yeah, this is just their lack of organization. We can't take out even one Soviet division effectively. Okay, well, if we come down, okay, construction. Okay, we've got through those. Infrastructure here. Okay, it's not letting us build in this area, even though this is currently German Reich territory. See, when your deserts of Jordan are better off than mainstay parts of Europe. Okay, well, that's down at level 5. Let's come down here, move these to the top. They build fast, but they mean I don't get all these other things freaking fixed that I need fixed. Ugh. Yeah, I know I'm not playing the best when I'm playing on this. Because I could play an hour or two of just sort of microing things without the clock moving. And I think that would be boring for most people. At least we've got the partisans under control currently. Okay, chemical industry. Very good. Yeah, let's look at like air doctrines here. Yeah. Key point bombing, battlefield support. I like battlefield support. And yes, I will spend 100 of that to improve it. Very good advice there. Black defenses, very good. Okay, so that got them in Westphalian, Weser, Hanover, Schleswig-Holstein in the north. Okay, a little bit more central and a little bit. Let's do the Rhineland and Mosselland first, I think. Did we ever relieve the overcrowding entirely? Yes, we did. Very good. We're no longer overcrowded at these airports. That will help efficiency on air operations. Oh, hell. Thanks for following, U.S. Coman. Do appreciate all of that. We're still messing with the fuel situation here. Can we trade with... We close enough now? Oh no, yeah, I need to do oil. No. We can't. Oh, and why for Gashara? I'm sure I'm butchering that. Thank you also for the follow. Okay, yeah, this just... I've had it out with them. I think they're seeing it my way now, but what they did is reduce the distance of overland trade too much for the game, so I can't get freaking oil from Romania, which of course was Germany's primary oil supply. See, and they said, well, there was game reasons to reduce trade distances for blah, okay. And it didn't get beyond game reasons, and it doesn't matter in my opinion, what the game reasons were to reduce trading distances. If you do something that breaks a primary historical thing, like Germany's primary source of oil out of the ground was Romania. Germany has oil, still has oil to this day. I don't know if they're fracking it, but Germany has oil out of the ground. There's a little bit in Czechoslovakia, a little bit in Austria. There's little bits and pieces of oil around in Europe, but the big thing is Ploiești, which still produces oil to this day. So their main oil out of the ground, as opposed to synthetic oil. I really don't know the synthetic versus. By the end, of course, you're bombing Ploiești and you're reducing Ploiești's production levels down heavily. So oil may be more coming out of synthetic oil, may be more coming from Germany, but oil out of the ground, its main source is Romania. And so you do something that makes that Romanian oil not able to happen, in my opinion, breaks the game. And so that's, so you can have your reasons, and the reasons can be great reasons for whatever for anything you're doing. That's sort of what I'm complaining about. The reasons over this bad infrastructure level here. That your reasons may be very, very good, but if it breaks the game, I don't care anymore. And so that's sort of the problem. Well, absolutely, but they didn't I don't think they knew about the North Sea oil at the time. I do know at the time they were drilling oil out of the Gulf, out of sort of Louisiana, East Texas area before the war. So they definitely did sea drilling. Now this is very shallow. I think shallower than Doggerland. So I don't know how deep sea oil versus sort of shallow coastal oil drilling. I know they were doing in that time frame. Naval battles. Yes, we can do that. Let's see up here. Inconclusive air attacks. At least we're doing stuff. Okay, now here, yeah, more inconclusive. We're just suppressing their naval. Okay, we sunk a destroyer. More inconclusive. Out here, let's see, are we doing any good? Well, we took out 87 Irish convoys for the cost of 16 submarines. 9 for those Canadian. For 4. Inconclusive air attacks on us. I think that's about it for us. Now we have been storing up a big batch of subs. Can we attach them to straight off to Raider? Now he has 69 subs. Okay, so they can be used. Very good. Keep those operations going. Could be speaking German right now. Yeah, we'll see about improving the subs. I'm more focused on getting some of the land tactics and air tactical situations in better shape. Oh, these guys should be down here right now, ready for this push. Yes, there we go. And well, they have a lot of low organization levels, so hopefully my higher organization levels can battle them down before we lose all of our organization. But not enough. Well, I'm sorry, the Nazis were just way too evil to let win the war. I understand patriotism. I understand wishing your side would have won in a war. But trust me, I understand that idea and that feeling, but that's just, they were too much the bad guys. Oh yeah, Azad's right. It quite honestly, it doesn't matter if they had the technology to drill or not. It would have been sunk. Whether the Royal Navy or the Royal Air Force would have just taken them down. Okay, well, let's transfer some bombers down there to bomb them some more. There we go. Okay, well, let's see about, we don't need you in Eastern Poland. Let's see about getting you down. Oh, we need long-range bombers. Okay. That does make a bit of sense. So, here. Yes. You come down to here. Hopefully you'll be close enough from there. And they can hold another 50 or 100 or so. Another 48 will do. Will be helpful. Yeah, okay. That was their lack of victory. Genghis Khan and Timur were far more evil. The Germans were too organized to be evil, though. Or be evil enough, yeah. Well, I don't know how Germany's doing, but I do know that Britain is losing the right to speak freely. They have hate speech laws in Britain now. And so if you do hate speech, even online, even if you say nasty things online. So if I lived in Britain and I started to say nasty things about somebody, I might literally get a police knocking on my door. They might even arrest me. They've arrested people over that in Britain. And, I'm like, well, I hate Nazis. That doesn't seem to be too controversial to say. But if I say I hate communists too, that, because there's communists running the university that isn't terribly far away from me here. And so since I hate communists, that might be considered hate speech. I hate like Che Guevara. So because of what he did. So I do hate groups of people like that. I don't hate them because of their skin color or hair color or something like that. But I do hate them for being communists if they are communists, if people are communists. And so, if you're talking about that hate speech, well, I'll say I hate communists. I think, bad things should happen to communists. But yeah, so hate speech laws are, so I don't necessarily want to do some of the hate speech, quote unquote, but you should be free to do it without the police coming to it. Now, if I posted online, hey, I'm going to come to your house, and you give a specific name, and I'm going to do bad things, physical things to you, physical violence. And it could be, it could be like an ex-wife or an ex-husband or an ex-whatever. It doesn't have to be somebody that, is of a different color, racial color, or a different belief system or religious group or anything like that. It could just be, online threats to an individual that I'm going to come, like, notice I said bad things happen to them, which could be just simply being fired from their teaching job. That's different. I'm not suggesting I'm calling for violence on anybody, but if you look at it that way, that's different. Those are online threats of violence, whether they're online or in person. If I'm outside of your house, yelling at you, that would be a bad thing. So yeah, if that's something like that, if I'm threatening violence, that's different than I'm saying your skin color is bad, which again, I'm saying I don't care about your skin color. But it's different kind of thing. Now, I understand banning Nazi parties in Germany. That is because of it's still recent. There's still people living. And, well, back in the 90s, one guy I knew rather well who was into Hitler Youth as a child. Though, of course, he, as an adult, rejected Nazism. Now, I lost touch with him some years ago, but I'm very sure he's passed by now, but we still have in living memory people under that. So I understand that. Now, 100 years from now, Germany still has anti-Nazi laws, then that's a problem. But I understand the recent ones. About Nazi dogs even killing children and remaining untouched after the war. That was horrifying. Well, if you look at the book Hitler's Compromises, you find out about all of his killing or having doctors kill people for reasons of, genetic defects, and others, useless eaters. We're talking otherwise regular German type peoples that they were killing well before the start of the war. And we're not talking about different ethnic groups. So even if you're, really, really terrible things going on, for just getting rid of people that were no longer useful. So the Nazis did that, and that was a doctor's focused thing, not a camp focused thing. Those were done in some regular hospitals, and I don't mean just like done once or twice. I mean done as a factory program, and then they had special sort of hospitals run by doctors that they would take these people to and kill them. And yeah, it's pretty horrifying. Who have said something hateful on Facebook in the Netherlands and getting sued. But if there's something bad said about the Netherlands or about true Dutchies, then it's okay because certain refugees think. Yes, I understand that too. Turks did Assyrians what they did to Armenians too, but Assyria isn't a country, so nobody cares. Well, yeah, I totally agree, Arno, that there are quote-unquote protected classes, protected ethnic groups, and other ethnic groups or classes aren't protected. I think that's a very, very terrible thing. Now, you mentioning Facebook, although I disagree with it, and I think there could be laws to protect your speech rights on platforms like Facebook, like Twitter, like YouTube's, say that you can't ban somebody for saying something that isn't illegal. I think those laws could be enforced, but that is still, say if YouTube wants to kick me off, that is that is very harmful to my profession, but that is extremely different to having a knock on the door from the police. So, as level, it's wrong. It's wrong on multiple levels for YouTube or Twitch or Twitter or Facebook to ban some of these people, even the hateful people that we don't like. And it's not just, well, they ban Nazis, but they don't ban communists. I'm not even saying. I'm just saying, I would, if there was now, and again, because then they come up to like Twitter. Well, you don't want to have ISIS or Al Qaeda accounts. Well, we're the U.S. technically, well, maybe we are still at war because there was no formula for declaring war against a non-state entity, meaning not against a country. We did make a sort of declaration of war against Al Qaeda and affiliated sort of groups. So, which ISIS is what was sort of Al Qaeda in Iraq, and then it changes its name to ISIS or Daesh or whatever. So just because there's a name change in a book somewhere doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a related group. That we actively did sort of create an act of war there, or a declaration of war. So that can sort of cover some of these things that people complain about with the U.S. going on. So in my opinion, and I'm going to use Azad because he's here and a convenient person, if, say, the U.S., now I'm not saying it's legal in India, but I'm saying from a U.S. law standpoint, if we spotted an Al-Qaeda cell in India, and now India is very cooperative with us, I believe, in our fight against Al-Qaeda, but let's just say they weren't cooperative. Could be like in Pakistan, which is just over the border and formerly part of India. But let's just say it was in India, and we found an Al-Qaeda cell, and we wanted to send in a hit team. I'm not talking like blowing up doing an airstrike or something. It could be if they're in a lonely car in a deserted road or something. But if we want to send in a hit team into India or into Britain, for that matter. Again, it's maybe not legal in Britain, but we wanted to send in a hit team against an Al-Qaeda cell. Yeah, I'm okay with that under our declaration of war against Al-Qaeda ongoing if we find it in there. Now, of course, if Britain or India is willing to either capture them or kill them themselves, we could just inform them. Yeah, that's fine too. But we have a declaration of war on Al-Qaeda after 9/11. So if you have a group that we're at war with, we have a declaration. Go, yeah, no, those people can't spread their propaganda. And anybody we deem through a process, whether the process is proper or not is another question, but through a process to be, this account here is spreading ISIS propaganda, well, then we shut them down because we've determined that they're spreading not just people that we don't like, but people we're actively at war with. Okay, we shut them down because either they're spreading that propaganda, and so yeah, that would be illegal. And so it's sort of like saying, in China you can't say something. Okay, well, that's in China, and shut down China's access to Chinese people's access to videos. I don't like it, but it's China, and whether if one of these companies are operating in there. But now to have China insist that YouTube or Twitch or Twitter shut down an account for saying free Hong Kong outside of China, well, then that is incredibly, incredibly wrong. So I know you guys are saying a bunch of stuff at me, but I want to rant here. So that's incredibly wrong to have Chinese influence outside of China on what you can and can't say. So the idea, again, on the basis, the idea of, because I say something negative about a group of people, even if it's a protected class, having a police visit is terribly wrong. Now, if I said I'm going to come and do some physical violence, or I'm calling for physical violence against a group of people, and I specified physical violence, not, I want them fired, or I don't think they should be allowed to do something in the middle of the street, or whatever. Could be homeless people pooping in the middle of the street. That doesn't mean I'm calling for somebody to get a stick and go and hurt them for pooping in the middle of the street, but I'm calling for them to, maybe be arrested for or ticketed or whatever for doing that in the middle of the street. So, have actions taken against them, calling for some actions to be taken against groups, even protected groups of people. Maybe that because, I don't want people of a certain skin color to be allowed to walk in the streets. Of course, that's a bad thing. I have to say that just because people are going to try to take things out of context. But you could think that they should not be allowed, and you can even say that you should without the police coming and knocking on your door. It is different, and there should be that little thing that you're either calling for physical violence or stating that you're going to do physical violence, then having the police knock on your door because you're threatening physical violence. And it can it can be like against somebody that you now dislike, obviously, but somebody that was like an ex-husband, an ex-wife, or something like that. So whenever, so it doesn't have to be a protected group for when we find out you're making threats of violence. And then I'm, reasonably comfortable with the idea of a police knocking at your door. Or, again, because it's illegal to make threats of violence in the United States, and I presume most countries, just if you shout it out your window, it's illegal, or stand in the middle of the street and shout it, it's illegal. So I presume making it illegal online to actively do threats of violence. So if you have a YouTube channel, say, that makes threats of violence, yes, YouTube should be able to shut you down. But if you're just saying, hey, yeah, Mr. AH was a really good guy, well, that doesn't mean you should have your channel shut down. You're just an idiot. Now, of course, there's deranking and there's other sorts of things that can be demonetizing because whatever. Those are other issues. But, as long as it isn't illegal speech. Now, again, they have hate speech laws in some countries, like Canada, like Britain. Now, I think those laws are wrong, but in those countries, yeah, okay, you should take that down, but not in America still. We still have freedom of speech. It's in our basic constitution. Let me scroll. Well, let me end this episode here on this happy note. We're going to be continuing the live stream, so don't go anywhere. We're going to be continuing next episode with this series. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And, of course, make comments about anything. Love to hear from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.